Hey, good morning, everybody. Episode 12, Lesson 3, Replication and Locality. Lesson 3 from Dear Gigi's 21 lessons. So, this one doesn't speak to me a ton. I mean, it's real and it's there. Basically, this relates to where are your Bitcoins? Where are my Bitcoins? I think this freaks a lot of people out, so I want to be careful in how I talk about this one. You should read the lesson from Dear Gigi. It'll just take you a couple minutes. The lesson that he relates is that Bitcoin taught him that locality is a tricky business. And the idea is just simply, where are your Bitcoins? Where are my Bitcoins? And the answer is, it's kind of threefold. Well, we'll say it's threefold. So they're everywhere, they're nowhere, and then they are very specifically in your private keys. So the way that the Bitcoin network ledger works is that there is a list of what are called unspent transaction outputs, or UTXOs, abbreviated. And they are reorganized in about every 10 minutes on the ledger in what have been what Satoshi referred to as blocks. So you've heard of you've likely heard of blockchain. Well, the blocks are where the transactions are stored and where the register of unspent transaction outputs are logged. And they exist everywhere. So in every node, they're replicated. So on the one hand, your Bitcoins are everywhere in those unspent transaction outputs. The reference to nowhere is that there's really no reference anywhere in the code or even in the ledger to Bitcoins. There are fractions of a Bitcoin, which are Satoshis, and they weren't named Satoshis when Satoshi Nakamoto, started the network in 2009. But it takes 100 million Satoshis to create a Bitcoin. So they're actually stored in 1/100 millionths of a Bitcoin in those transaction outputs, and you actually infer that you have a Bitcoin by counting up 100 million of them. So in that sense, Bitcoins, quote unquote, don't exist anywhere. It's really the fractions of a Bitcoin, or the Satoshis that are logged or written to the ledger as unspent transaction outputs. So they're everywhere and they're nowhere. And then they're very specifically in your private key. So when you generate a wallet and you get those 12 or 24 words, the 12 words, those, for all intents and purposes, those are your Bitcoins. Because if you lose those, you lose your Bitcoin. And the only way to move your Bitcoin is with those 12 words, which is, again, that is your private key. It's Dear Gigi refers to it as a magic spell. I don't really love that connotation. I'm not a big fan of necessarily of magic spells. But the reality is that if someone has your 12 words, they have your Bitcoin. So you can think of those 12 words as your password, as your pass key, as your private key. But for all intents and purposes, those 12 words are your Bitcoin. So locality is a tricky business. Replication and locality. Dear Gigi's lesson 3, your Bitcoins are nowhere, everywhere, and very specifically in your private key all the time. Hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to the next episode. Have a blessed day.